Okay, let's straighten that up. Straighten that. Hey everybody, John the Other here, obviously. And of course, everybody and their brother is talking about the gong show, and it is a gong show happening at Evergreen College. And of course, people are saying, well, why don't they call the police? Why are the faculty such, cuckolds? Why are they such pussies? Why are they tolerating this abuse from the students? Okay, those are all interesting questions. But what I think nobody has pointed out yet is all these students at this college, at least the ones participating in this ridiculous takeover of the college, banging on desks and demanding of people whose offices they have invaded to solve the problem of maybe assignments not coming in on time because they're busy, interfering with the business of the college. Why are the faculty not, dropping the hammer on these kids? Well, why would they? Why would they? These kids came out of high school and went into college, probably somewhat social justice indoctrinated, but not radicalized, not to the point of being non-functional in a college environment. That happened in the college. That happened because their professors fed them a continuous stream of toxic propaganda that infected their brains. These kids, as much as they are behaving like violent criminal assholes and looking at their behavior, you think, well, that each of these guys needs to be charged for the crime. They're actually physically assaulting their professors. You see some bunch of 6-foot-tall athletic students jamming their fingers into the face of a tiny little 5-foot, 65-year-old professor woman. You're committing a crime, my friends. But of course the professors are not going to drop the hammer on them, because who do you think it is who fed the students their ideology? Well, the professors, obviously. The professors and faculty. The president, who won't enforce discipline on these kids, won't tell them, look, this is a university. The people here are employees. They don't come to work to be abused, and if you do, you'll go to jail. He's not going to regulate. He's not going to stand up to these people. He is in charge of the show that fed them the toxic ideology you are now seeing manifested. This is Dr. Frankenstein reaping what he sows. This is Dr. Frankenstein having his monster come back to get him. The professors being abused and more or less held hostage by these radicalized students, they turned those kids into the radicals who are now abusing and terrorizing them. And are other universities going to learn? I don't think so. So, it's a little bit funny. Now, it's also sort of tragic because these kids are not innately evil, and they're not innately stupid. They've been made stupid. They have been turned into stupid, violent, non-functional sociopaths. And the behavior is sociopathic, so they're sociopathic. Even if it's not biologically determined, they were taught this, okay? I feel sorry for them because they're going to emerge from their college days, from their life as a student, and try to be adults in the real world. And they're going to think that you can get what you want by bum rushing somebody and jamming your finger in their face and shouting idiotic racial slurs at them, and that you will get what you want. But if you do that in the real world, somebody will take your finger and break it in a matter of seconds, or if they're not physically disposed to defend themselves against that kind of physical aggression, they'll call the cops, and you'll go to jail. These students have been horrendously ill-served and abused by their professors. They have gone to a place of higher education which is supposed to prepare you for life in the real world, and they have been horribly abused and made into non-functional non-citizens who, unless they can reparent themselves and become, able to function normally as people and negotiate and deal with differences of opinion, to deal with different cultures and so on, these kids, without that reformulation of their thinking, have no future except jail, and in a few cases, shallow graves in the desert. So it's kind of sad, even though it's also kind of funny. Thanks very much for watching, and as always, have a lovely day. Okay, so it's later in the day. You know, it's dark out instead of light out. You can probably tell the lighting is different. I've been out and running a bunch of errands. I've had a shower and put the same stinky shirt back on to preserve some semblance of continuity. I want to talk a little bit about an article that is published on okcfox.com called "New Details in Holtzclaw Case, but State Says You Have No Right to Know." That's the title of the article. And I'm going to read you a little bit of this article, not the whole thing. There are new developments in the case of the former cop, Daniel Holtzclaw, convicted of rape, but the public is being kept in the dark about the details. Now, if you are a follower of the legal system, either in Canada, the United States, or anywhere else, in any Western country, that should be cause for alarm when you read that. Because the justice system, and I say so provisionally, doesn't just have to operate, it has to operate with a level of public transparency. Criminal courts that are not visible to the public are not legal courts. They are just star chambers. They're courts of fiat decision rather than the administration of justice if it doesn't have public vision on it, if it's non-transparent to the public. I'll keep reading. The Oklahoma Attorney General's office is fighting to keep Holtzclaw in prison as he appeals his sex crime convictions. The agency filed a motion recently under seal. There we go, there's the trouble again. Motions under seal. According to the limited court records available, online attorneys believe the material is exempt from public disclosure by Oklahoma law. Or, if they don't believe that, they are saying that. The Attorney General's office has not publicly provided any statute or legal precedent that would warrant such an exemption from the public record. Are you starting to see the problem here? While filing under seal is not unheard of in criminal cases, it is not necessarily common in criminal appeals. There's a mild understatement for you. However, making matters more uncommon is the state attorneys and the judges of the Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals withholding the information from the defense attorneys representing Holtzclaw on his appeal. So, the Attorney General of Oklahoma is filing some sort of motion that is under seal, not just from the public, which is not too unusual. I mean, it would be under seal until the procedure was finished, and then it would be visible to the public. But it's also under seal against Holtzclaw. Holtzclaw, the person who is filing the criminal appeal, cannot see what the Attorney General of Oklahoma is doing. This is, to call this irregular, is to abuse the word irregular with massive understatement. The court took, and I'm reading again, the court took the secrecy a step further by imposing a protective order on the case while issuing an order sending Holtzclaw's case back to Oklahoma County District Court. Now, when you send a case back to the lower court from the appeal court, what you're doing is saying there's a problem with this case. The lower court has to finish their business. In other words, there's been an omission, there's new evidence that hasn't been looked at, or there was a legal error. And I'm going to read again. In general practices, criminal cases only go back to the district court when they are overturned, that is, the conviction being overturned, or when there is a need to debate new evidence. However, as the article says, the prosecutor, David Prater, has issued a public statement saying there is no new evidence. Anyway, I really encourage you to read this whole article. I'll put a link to that in the low bar. Everybody paying attention to the Daniel Holtzclaw case, as we do in the Lighthouse Project, and you've probably seen Diana Davison do a number of videos on that topic. You may also have seen Michelle Malkin do quite a bit of excellent coverage on this. It's very exciting to see the Holtzclaw case go back to court, because if you paid attention, you see that it appears to have been a completely politicized and trumped up case against him. None of the facts aligned with the findings of the court in his guilt, and yet the district attorney and the attorney general of Oklahoma appear to be illegally withholding details of the case from Holtzclaw's lawyer, who has the right of disclosure. So it is actually a good thing right now for Daniel Holtzclaw that David Prater, who is the prosecutor of the District of Oklahoma, appears to be an extremely dirty and corrupt prosecutor. Appears to be. Because none of this would make sense if there wasn't dirty business going on. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and pay attention to the Daniel Holtzclaw case. This is not over, and there's a very good chance that Holtzclaw is very quickly going to be getting out of jail, where he was sent wrongfully on phony, fake, trumped up and politicized charges. Thanks very much for watching, and as always, have a lovely, lovely day.